look, please. Please, sit down, sit down. Thank you, that's very nice. You have a right to be enthusiastic. This is the time to live it up. Look, you're going to have plenty of time to nap later when you have that Bush-Dukakis debate. Well. Yeah! In your cage, Simba.
I trapped this sucker myself.
Now, be honest. Tell the people at home that's not a real... the leopard? Simulated leopard?
That's right.
But it's not real, is it?
Nothing is real anymore.
Oh, bitter. How are you tonight? You sound in a good mood. You people over here are in the self-serve aisle. You have to do your own monologue. But I welcome you to Burbank. Have we said anything nasty about Burbank lately? It's a nice place.
Yeah.
Nice place. You know they had my picture on the cover of the Burbank phone book a year ago? An honor that comes to few people, folks. It is it's a little older community. Give you an idea, if you go to a bar here, the most popular drink is 1 part laxative, 1 part tequila. They put salt around the rim. It's called a margamuso. I gotta have fun. I got in here too, you know. Only in Los Angeles would this happen. Did you see that we have out here on the freeways? Back east, they call them expressways. We have a carpool lane. You're supposed to have more than one person in the car to use that lane. You know, that's just to get people to double up coming to work. A guy today was driving a hearse. He had 4 bodies in the hearse. He was in the carpool lane. And they arrested him, they took him in, and he lost the case. The judge says, no, that doesn't count. And the guy says, you don't understand. When they got in the hearse on the Ventura Freeway, they were alive. Well, let's see what's happening in the funny world of politics. That's where all the good comedy is. President Reagan today criticized Michael Dukakis. He said, and I quote the president, he says, Dukakis lies about economy, he lies about the unemployment and the homeless. And besides, he's a Pisces and make bad president. Every time I see Dukakis, he's doing a Greek dance. Notice that? Bush tried to upstage him today, got out a Lawrence Welk album, and tried to do some dirty dancing with Gene Kirkpatrick. That's all right, come on. I like Dukakis, but I don't know if I want a president who looks like Rod Serling. Can you imagine his inaugural address? You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance. Thing of ideas, into the twilight zone. I just thought I'd throw that in. Dukakis keeps talking about his heritage. That's good. He told reporters, for example, that he keeps the remains of his grandfather in a Greek urn. And one asked, what's a Greek urn? He said about $3 an hour. Look, I'll tell you, folks, that's why I made a deal to get those writers back. I guess Bush is now searching for a running mate. Now, there's quite an honor being Bush's running mate. That's like being, I guess, what, Sonny Bono's deputy mayor? Sonny Bono is mayor of Palm Springs, California. Did you know that? Yeah. Sonny Bono of Sonny and Cher. What kind of a job can that be? What? I mean, sit around in a meeting, say, why don't we name a street after Red Skelton? Hey, pass, let's break for lunch, and out the door. What else is happening? Reagan says now he is going to campaign hard for Bush. And what he says, he's going to hit the campaign trail, and there's going to be a brawl in the fall. Is Muhammad Ali writing for Reagan? I can see Reagan on the campaign trail, sting like a butterfly and nap like a caterpillar. Bush's big problem, he's trying to remove himself now, little by little, from the Reagan administration. And It'd make him the first person to accomplish that without a Senate investigation, if he can, do that. Well, folks, we can all breathe easier now that Kurt Waldheim has been cleared by HBO. You know what I'm talking about? They held a mock trial. Not a real trial, but a mock trial on HBO about the alleged war crimes of Kurt Waldheim, and he was found not guilty. More good news. Panama's Manuel Noriega was found guilty of drug smuggling charges by the Disney Channel. Worked out pretty good. Wild item, again in Los Angeles. One of Sylvester Stallone's bodyguards yesterday thwarted a bank holdup. Did you read that? The robber apparently ran from the bank, ran into Stallone's bodyguard, who pulled out a gun, and that was that. And the robber said, "Who are you?" And Sloane's, well, he's like a department store. He's big. Sloane's is a department store. Well, this joke's in the toilet right now anyway. You see, when you lose it, it's gone. You can't go back. The robber said to Stallone's bodyguard, I'm going to show you, make a test of this and show you that this will not work. You remember the early premise of the joke? Robber came out, Stallone's bodyguard pulled a gun, and that was it. And the robber said, "Who are you?" And Stallone's, and... Picture this. Here's a bank. Robber has just held it up, runs out. Standing on the sidewalk is Sylvester Stallone's bodyguard. And the fellow says to Stallone's bodyguard, "Who are you?" And the bodyguard says, "I am your worst early withdrawal penalty." Well, you're very kind. You're very kind. One final item is kind of strange. It's kind of sad in a way. A woman is suing TWA Airlines because they lost her husband's ashes. Apparently, she was coming out and she wanted to put it in a compartment, and they made her check it. And, well, no. Why do you find that? That's just sad. I mean, you don't even know what's going to happen to you after you're gone. You kind of picture this, in a plot with trees, a little babbling brook at a lovely cemetery, and you end up in the baggage claim area, going in Denver, going around and around under a pair of skis the rest of your life. So Sloane's bodyguard said, anyway, we have tonight, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger is with us tonight. And we're going to pump him up. And also, funny comedian Jerry Seinfeld is here, and a young man who is, I think, going to be one of the premier tennis players in the world in another year or two. Andre Agassi is with us tonight. Stay where you are. You ever have that? Sure. You ever have that problem when you're doing? I remember one day we were taping a sales tape in here for one of our sponsors.
Right.
And you got in one of those things where you couldn't say a certain word.
Yeah.
You must have done it 20 times in a row.
And every time.
And every time you got to that point.
Yeah.
And you'd say, and this is it, blah, blah. You do it again.
We finally abandoned it. We couldn't finish it.
Anyway, tonight, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sly Sloan, Jerry Seinfeld, and Andre Agassi. Have you seen young Agassi play tennis?
I have not, no.
He's 18 years old. He's in Las Vegas. He's won, I think, 3 or 4 tournaments. He went to the French Open. He's 18 and got to the semifinals against Mats Wilander and took him to 5 sets. Anyway, a few weeks ago, as you know, there is still a writer's strike among the television networks and the Motion Picture Alliance. Independent companies have signed some of them, including The Tonight Show with the writers. But we did have a strike here for a while, and the USA Today ran a little contest and asked the readers to send in jokes for Johnny to help out during the strike. We got about 600 responses. And USA thought it would be nice if we read some of these jokes that were sent in because the people took time. Now, I said out of 600, some were really, really bad. I mean, really bad jokes. Approximately 200 were ethnic jokes. 110 named specific body parts. And some of those were really good. 6 were written on cocktail napkins. 12 were written on underwear? That's not... couldn't be. Anyway, we're gonna give you some of this material and give credit to the people. Here's a joke from Mark Pinkston of Savannah, Georgia. Please excuse the typing. My wife was in labor, and she did the best she could. Now, here's a dedicated guy. The wife is in labor, but he's writing material. Now, here's the joke. President Reagan announced today that youth gang wars are at the top of his administration's concern. He said gangs have been a concern of his during his youth. The James gang, the Dalton gang.
Not bad.
Not bad. Let's see, this one is from Jack Clark of Ruston, Louisiana. He said, Johnny, here's one that will slop your hogs. Is that a big expression in Louisiana? Well, anyway, this is going to slop your hog. Old maid went to a pet shop to buy a pet for companionship. The owner suggested a parrot that would talk with her. But the only one he had used to belong to a sailor, and it cursed badly. The lady said he'd break the parrot from using foul language. She bought a cage, went home, put the parrot in it. The parrot didn't like the old lady and started cussing. So she snatched him off his perch and threw him in the freezer section of the refrigerator for 15 minutes. Took him out and brushed the snow from his feathers. He was shivering, and the lady said, "You gonna cuss anymore?" And the parrot said, "No, if you'll answer one question." "What's that?" she replied. And the parrot says, "What the hell did that turkey in there do?"
Very good.
So bad. Here's one from Nancy McCoy of Moscow, Oregon. After leaving the White House staff, Don Regan said, "Finally, I'm footloose and Nancy free." Joke for Johnny from William Marburg of Holiday, Florida. Well, is Tommy here tonight? Says, when Tommy Newsom went in to vote, he was handed an absentee ballot. Okay. Here's one from Ivan Bunny Kolitz. Ivan Bunny Kolitz from Chicago. Says, I'm having dinner with Orville Redenbacher. I won't pick up the check. I'll let him pop for it. Don't send any more jokes, Ivan, and we won't ask how you got the name Ivan Bunny. All right, this is from Sally Millsaps from Ames, Iowa. Excuse me? Are you from Iowa? Whereabouts in Iowa? Morris. Well, she's not from Morris. She's from Ames, Iowa. You can only yell out if you're in the exact town. Just because we mentioned the state doesn't... See, if you're from Ames, Iowa, you could go, yay, Ames, Iowa. But you're from where? Morris. No, that's...
No, I can't.
No. Can't yell out if you're from Morris. Where is Morris? Whereabouts is Morris, Iowa? Northwest Iowa. By Sioux City. Yeah.
You said it was all right. You told her.
This could get quickly out of control. All right, anyway, here's this joke from Sally Millsaps of Ames, Iowa. Iowa, okay. How do you know that owls are smarter than chickens? Have you ever heard of any Kentucky Fried Owls? Folks, these people are doing their best. Okay, here's one from Marty Bridgeford of Salem, Oregon. Man went to the store to buy some baby chicks. He did the same thing for the next 3 weeks. The clerk said, "What's with the baby chicks?" The man said, "They're all dead." The clerk said, but they were all healthy. And the man said, "Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm planting them too deep." I want to thank you, Marty. We found through the years our audience has been a sucker for buried chicken jokes. One more, huh? A woman was joining a service organization and asked to tell a little about herself. She mentioned she'd been married 4 times, the first to a banker, the second time to an actor, the third time to a minister, and the 4th time to an undertaker. One club member asked, "Why those 4 occupations?" "Well, I married 1 for money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, and 4 to go." One more. Believe it or not, this comes from West Germany. The guy's name is Roland, H-A-N-L. Would that be Hanel? Roland Hanel. I'm going to read it to you just as it came in. Apparently he gets the German version of USA Today, and here's Roland's joke. Viola Ross and Steel Top Tooth stand at highway and high big finger. She stand only by American because the large you fool can never drive her to her knees without driving to the grave. Reflect what nonsense about those things. Folks, you got to understand, Roland's considered the funniest guy in West and East Germany. It must lose something in the translation, but Roland, we thank you for that effort. What? Hold up. Oh, okay.
Armor all.
What? Is that? Are you sure?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Let's welcome new Armor All car wax in a push-button can. It protects and shines, but it won't scratch. Why did I read it that way?
But it won't scratch.
But it won't scratch. We are back. Moving along here from Hi-Ho. You all know this gentleman. My first guest has had a string of monumental big movie hits the past few years, and he's currently starring in the movie called Red Heat. Would you welcome, please, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Look at that coat.
You like that, huh?
You're the only guy I know who could walk out in a purple coat and nobody's going to make fun of it. That is a good-looking coat.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Terrific, thank you.
Is this new picture, is it out already?
No, it's coming out on Friday and on June 17th, next week.
Every picture you've made the past few years just seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, I think it's the reason is that they're concept pictures, you know.
Yeah.
I really go for the concept. And Red Heat, again, is one of those pictures that is a really great concept with the whole idea of a Soviet police officer coming to the United States, and especially at this time now with the summits and this glasnost and all this. So the timing is perfect for that.
Yeah. We'll talk about the picture in a moment. You have been, I've made jokes about you on the air. You know, you've got the accent, muscles and so forth. Did you get used to it?
I have a great sense of humor, so I love when people make fun of me. And
well, I didn't make fun of you. I didn't make fun of you.
No, but I mean, when they do, I mean,
made amusing references.
Yeah, no, but I don't care. I mean, I went through a roast at the Friars Club. I heard
about that.
And I mean, I heard jokes beyond belief. Let me tell you.
Have you ever been to a male stag roast at the Friars before?
Oh yes, I've watched one, but I mean, this time I was the subject of one. I mean, it was quite different to sit there and be hammered away for 3 hours.
Are there any jokes you could tell? Now, I've emceed a lot of those, and I've been on the dais at the Friars, and it gets a little, it's for men only.
Well, you know, the best ones are, of course, the ones that you could never tell to an audience like this, because, I mean, they're all innocent people out there.
We have people here from Morris, Iowa.
But I've heard some really good ones. One of them that I thought was Milton Berle. Is one that really takes some great shots at my acting always. It's quite funny. I mean, he said that I am to acting what Raymond Burr is to ball vaulting.
Cruel. That comes with the territory.
Yeah. And another one he said was, I can't quite remember now, but it was something like that for Arnold Schwarzenegger to wait for an Oscar is like leaving the porch light on for Jimmy Hoffa.
Would you
on and
ever entertain the idea of doing a comedy, or is that completely removed from what you would even feel comfortable with?
No, I love comedy, and this is one of the things that I always try to put in my films, because I love action adventure, but I also like that comic relief in the films, and it really works well because the audience loves comedy. And in Red Heat, we have comedy all the way through because Jim Belushi plays the worst cop of Chicago, and he gets hooked up with me as the toughest police cop, the dirty Harry of Moscow. And so that itself is a lot of comedy all the way through. But right now, I'm doing one with Danny DeVito, which is a straight comedy. It's called
a strange
Twins.
combination.
Yeah, it's
Twins?
Twins, yes.
You and Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
That's a great concept.
Yeah, that's
you
great.
shot part of this, did you not, in Red Square in Moscow?
Yeah, we were very fortunate that we got the permission finally to shoot on Red Square, and I think it was very important because it lent a lot of authenticity and realism to the film. Yeah. Because in the beginning of the film, we start out in the Soviet Union, and to establish the shots on Red Square and to see me on Red Square, and then various different scenes in Moscow really works, because then when we cut to Chicago, there's really a different look to the whole thing.
We'll come back. We'll take a break. I want to come back and tell what happened when you were walking around in Red Square in the Russian police uniform. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back talking with Arnold Schwarzenegger about his new picture. Pickup, you were wearing the Russian police uniform in Red Square. Did people know who you were?
Yes, there was a few thousand people coming around watching us film this scene. I didn't realize that any of the films that we make over here come over there, but they're trading it on a black market, on a video market. So those kids really, they know all the actors in America, see all those action adventure films, so they know very much who you are, except some people. And that's, of course, when I was there with that uniform, with this Russian uniform, it looked exactly the same way as the police officers looked on Red Square. So I was walking around doing my scene, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes this Russian cop towards me and screaming loud, and on and on and on. And I, of course, had no idea, so my interpreter came over, and he asked him, he said, what do you want? He says, he should go over there and direct the traffic because all those government cars are coming out right away. And so he told him, he says, he doesn't understand what you're saying. He says, he's the actor of this movie. And he says, push it, you know, and he ordered us away right away, you know, because all those government cars were coming out.
You do a pretty good phonetic Russian gibberish.
No, this was Russian.
This is, but no.
Russian. This is Russian.
How did you get away from the German to the Russian? Did you have to work on that?
Well, first of all, there were 20 pages in a film that were in Russian dialogue, so I had to study those lines in Russian. So it took around 3 months I worked on that. And then I worked with Robert Easton, who is the dialect coach.
We've had him on the show.
And he...
how would you say, can you know a few Russian words now?
Oh, yeah, what I said before.
Was that all Russian?
Yeah. Попробуй пудерше раз колиони камен в руки, а пак не появится партнер.
Oh, I just thought it was Russian. I thought you were just doing...
Если видим после действия Tonight Show.
What did that mean, Arnold?
It just means they have the greatest show around.
Great Russian. Okay.
For Warner Brothers, which is going to be called Sergeant Rock.
Yeah.
And we're going to film that in Europe, so there are a lot of things coming up.
It's always great having you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Thank you. That looks like Now, Jerry Seinfeld is here tonight. Jerry Seinfeld is one of the brightest and funniest young comedians working today, and he's going to be at New Hampshire's Hampton Beach Casino, June 11th, and at the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, California, the 20th of June through the 23rd. Would you welcome Jerry Seinfeld? Jerry?
Nice. To them, that's funny. All right, so there I was. Nothing to do. Friend of mine says, let's go horseback riding. I'm a fun guy. I say, okay. Now, I don't even know. I've done this a couple of times. I'm not even really sure why we still do this. I mean, we all have cars. We don't need to. Is it just to further humiliate these animals? That we can get on their backs for the hell of it, just ride around whenever we want. I go up to the guy. He's trying to pick out the perfect horse for me. You ever go through this? He says, well, what level rider are you? I go, I don't know, 0, nothing. Whatever your system is, I can't do it. Is that clear enough for you? I go where he wants. Give me that one. So, of course, the guy looks around. All right, there's molasses back yet? Can we use him one more time? Glue stick, almost dead. Drag some of those guys out. So I get on this U-shaped lightning quick steed they've selected. I think I had the only horse you could put your feet flat on the ground while you're riding it. Okay? It's like I'm riding a hammock. And the horse is not thrilled with me either. You know how horses, they just stop whenever they want. I can't control them. So I just stop, and he looks up at me. You know, horses, they have that huge head, like 20 feet long, and that giant eye. It's like a bowling ball in his skull there, and he's giving me like some kind of horse attitude, like, just chill out, hop along, I know the trail. I'm here every damn day, for God's sake. And I really appreciate the kicking while I'm relieving myself. I get out of a car that has 200 horsepower so I can sit on an animal. He has 1 horsepower. Why do we use the term horsepower? There's another just insulting thing to the horse. I heard them talking about a rocket engine, one of these boosters, estimated to have 20 million horsepower. Now, folks, at 20 million, is there any point in continuing to compare it to a horse? Is this in case we go back to using horses for rockets someday? We're trying to keep track of how many we're going to need. No, I don't think we're going to see a lot of horses in the space program. Not more of in the glue program. They do make glue out of horses. I don't know how they do it, but they're doing it. There's glue factories, horses are going in, and glue is coming out. I don't know who started this. I'd like to know who saw that potential. I mean, you're in the glue business. You see a bunch of horses. How do you pick out the really sticky ones? You know, that brown one looks adhesive. Why don't we grab him? How about that other one weaving around? Maybe he's like a crazy glue. But I would say the worst thing for the horse has got to be the horse trailer. Who designed the horse trailer? Who decided the best way to move horses out on the highway is to have their huge, fat, disgusting rear ends in my face? Is that for my benefit? Are the horses enjoying it? They're probably standing in the back talking to each other. Do you feel a draft, Bill? I can't see anything back there, but it's awfully breezy, isn't it? You don't think our butts are hanging out the back of this truck, do you? Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Little horse humor, huh?
A little horse, a couple of horse jokes.
Yeah. I didn't realize the other day when horses have their head down, they're actually looking far away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, did you know that?
They hold it down further and they can see further.
I guess so.
Maybe they have the tail periscope or something.
I don't know what that is.
You know what I wanted to mention? My nephew is a little guy.
Yeah.
His birthday is tonight. I just wanted to say happy birthday to
How old is he?
Joshua. He's 4 years old.
4?
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's very exciting, yeah.
Well, you don't have kids of your own, do you?
No.
You see,
no.
that's why you're excited.
I would like, I can't really, that mental leap is huge to me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to imagine myself head of the household when my life at this point consists of, like, you know, kicking underwear up in the air and trying to catch it. You know? That's what I do around the house.
You're not ready to settle down yet, huh?
No, but I enjoy him. We took him on the rides for the first time. And that was hilarious. You know, a kid goes on the rides the first time. He has no idea that this is supposed to be fun. He thinks this is just something he has to go through. You know what I mean? Because big people enjoy strapping small people to huge, violent, rotating machines. You know,
Yes, they want to go on.
yeah,
Sure.
Want to see how good their toilet training really is. You know.
Somebody told me you were nominated for
the thing they give for the Clio that they give for the best commercials on television?
I was. It was really exciting. I haven't won it, but I'm nominated. It's next week. They're going to decide, and I'm really excited about that. I love advertising.
Yeah.
I love. You know, the Rambo thing is cracking me up this month. Have you seen the poster? The first time he went back for his country, then he went back for himself. Then now Rambo 3, he's going back for his friend.
Right.
Well, this goes on forever. I mean, you know, Rambo 9, he's going back for his albums.
For his albums?
Yeah, he left the headband hanging over the thing in the shower. He's got to go back again. Rambo 28.
Goes back for his laundry.
Yeah, it's like a frequent flyer thing, maybe. He just keeps, you know, going back.
Keep forgetting things.
Yeah.
Goes back for his luggage.
Now, my other favorite this month is Camel Cigarettes has a great billboard. Have you seen that one?
Still smoking after 75 years, yeah.
75 years and still smoking. Well, not everybody. I mean, I think there might be a couple empty chairs at that big birthday bash. But, I don't know. It's all fun.
Anyway, good to have you here again.
Thank you.
Good. We'll take this and we'll be right back. Stay where you are. That's all I'm coming into work today. We are back. How you doing? Unless you follow tennis, you may not know my next guest, but I'm sure in a year or so you're going to probably recognize his name like you recognize Jimmy Connors or John McEnroe. He's just 18 years old, and he's probably the most promising player that the United States has. And so far this year, he's won the U.S. Indoor and Clay Court Championships. And last week, he went to the French Open, where he played in the semifinals. And to show you how great he is, watch this tape in the semifinal match with Mats Wilander. This is from NBC Sports. Andre is wearing the denim shorts, folks. Oh. Oh, boy. Would you say hello to Andre Agassi? Andre? Good to meet you.
Thank you.
If I had one rally like that for one, I would be in Cedars-Sinai in the intensive care unit. Are you happy you got there?
Oh, yeah, it was great. You mean at the French Open?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a dream come true. You know, you grow up hearing how no American has ever won the tournament for what?
I think it was since Tony Trebert in 1950, something like that.
There you go. You know more about it than I do.
Yeah, I think it was the last time they won the French Open,
yeah,
38 years ago.
Just being the last American in it, I guess, was very exciting.
Yeah. You, people were hearing this, that, I should point out, that was you, right?
That was me, yes.
How do you get, a lot of the people who watch you play and who, those of us who like tennis, cannot figure out how you get the tremendous pace on the ball that you get. You're not particularly, what do you weigh, 150 pounds? Yeah. But you hit the ball as hard as Lendl or anybody else. How do you do that?
It's my arm.
Well, I know that, but you hit winners from the baseline and cross court and so forth?
It's not so much. It's just all timing, really. I mean, like, you got the golfers who are, like, skinny but can drive the ball harder than really anybody, so it's all on the wrist, the timing.
Transferring it and being there at the right time.
Exactly.
How many times do people mispronounce your name? I heard guys say Andre Agassi, Andre Agassi, Agassi. I assume it's Andre Agassi, right?
Agassi.
Agassi.
Yeah. You got it right.
That's right.
Though.
I was one of those dummies that was doing that. You're from Las Vegas.
Yeah. They pronounce it wrong almost every. There we go. There we go.
Only if you're actually from the town. You have to be from Las Vegas. Remember, that's a new rule here. Morristown's all right. How old were you when you started playing?
My dad started me when I was like 2. As soon as I could walk, I had to shave down a wooden racket about this big, got me on the court and would drop the balls and hit it and hit it. And
How old were you when you knew you were good?
when I knew I was good.
There comes a time when you realize you have a natural ability to play this game.
There was a tournament that came to town every Allen King in Las Vegas. I don't know if you used to go to that.
Yeah.
And all the professionals just come through there, and Jimmy Connors used to hit with me a lot, and Ely Nastasi, and because every time I was on the court hitting, people would like watch because I was always so little playing tennis.
How old were you at that time?
I was about 3, 4.
And you're hitting tennis balls back and forth with Nastasi and Connors?
It was my birthday when I turned 4, and Connors hit a few balls with me, and he said to my dad, the funny thing was, I just played Jimmy last year at the end of last year.
Right.
And we were playing in the heat of the day in Florida, and I broke him to go 4-3 in the first, and he had to retire because of like heat exhaustion. And anyhow, he said to my dad after I hit with him, he said, as soon as this kid gets old enough that he's able to beat me, that's when I know it's time for me to retire. So.
How does it feel? It must be a strange feeling when you're 4 and you're hitting with somebody like a Jimmy Connors or an Nastasi. Now all of a sudden you're 18 and you're beating them. Did you have any mixed emotions like that, saying, gee, I shouldn't beat him, but you can't do that. Of course, you got to go out and win the match.
Yeah, I mean, going out there on the court's the toughest thing, because before I used to go out on the court to ball boy for him.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go out there to play him and, you know, sometimes even beat him, and it is strange, definitely.
Okay, you're 18. You were playing Wielander, who is, I guess, 24 years old, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you won the 4th set, right?
Yeah.
And you went into the 5th, and then it kind of got away from you. What happened?
Oh, that was basically physically, not so much just that match he wore me down, but
yeah.
I had played like 3 tournaments in a row, won 2 of them, and then quarters of the next, and I was in the semifinals of the French, and it's just match after match was really physically and mentally especially.
Yeah.
And I was just so drained I couldn't keep it up.
Yeah. What's your favorite service? Is it?
I guess I would enjoy playing on clay more. I've done real well on hard court as well, but
Why didn't you go to Wimbledon?
They won't let me wear my denims.
Is that a fact?
Well,
yeah, the All England Lawn Tournament Association are very stuffy, and they wouldn't let the players wear the colors. They had to wear all white, I guess.
Yeah.
And you wear these denim shorts.
Oh, yeah, they're comfortable, actually. The more you wash them, the more comfortable they get.
Yeah. And did they really say something about it? Huh?
Oh, well, no, they didn't, like, call me specifically and say, hey, you can't bring them, but they, you know, have their dress code and say you have to wear all white. But plus, I need my rest, you know, I need my time home, and I've been playing so much that it's more important for me to get my rest right now than to keep on playing.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you probably have not reached your peak yet, right?
I hope not.
You're still going to put up, probably get a little taller and maybe get a little heavier?
I would think so. I think I might have an inch left in me somewhere, and definitely 10 or 15 more pounds.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Now, when you were in Paris, because I watched all the matches, we had to get up 6 o'clock in the morning to see the matches here in California. All of a sudden, you were the teen idol in Paris. All the young girls were showing up, and
that's
any comment on that at all?
I don't know. I mean, I hear that at a lot of tournaments I go to. I get a funny thing happen to me in Paris where these girl called my room when my brother wasn't there and said, yeah, me and my friend, we're models and we'd like to have a drink with you. And I'm trying to explain to him, no, you know, I just can't do that as soon as somebody calls. And so I told him no, and I hang up the phone. My brother comes back. All of a sudden, they come up to the room with 4 glasses and some champagne.
Boy, that's annoying, huh?
Huh? Yeah, isn't that annoying?
The guy's trying to get some sleep, you know. Models come crashing.
You do something that's rather unusual with tennis now. When your opponent makes a good shot or hits a winner, you give him a little applause. You don't see that much nowadays. The guys are also serious. You really seem to enjoy the game out there. You play to the crowd. You laugh if you dunk a bad shot, but you acknowledge your opponent's game.
I think it's
does that work for your style?
Exactly. I think it's all a matter of what makes you perform the best.
Yeah.
You know, like you got McEnroe, who anytime he'd complain, he'd turn around and win the next few games. It's like it brought out the best in him.
Let me take a break. We'll be right back. We're back. Did you really bring this for me? You know, I use it. It happens to be a Prince racket. Will this help my game?
It should. I think I used it for one of my matches in the French.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And it's good when those models come in. You can just crash them.
That's right. Please get out of the room. Out of the room. Andre, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet you, and much success with your career. And I think one of these years you're going to have the French Open in the bag, and probably Wimbledon, too. Very thankful for being with us, Arnold. Thank you. I'm humbled by that applause.